Hello. Are you warm? Yeah. Usually those are the Americans. Freezing. Well, it's bad weather, but we are here, and we are together, and we are in Advent. If we are living a Trinitarian existence, meaning a life centered around the mystery of God, then the Spirit in us feels a quickening. The Spirit is alert, yes. Even the weariest among us will feel something like anticipation, because we know that soon the infant King will come. In the past year, there have been many events, both in our lives, personally, and in the world. Some events have filled us with rejoicing, and some have filled us with concern and trepidation. Let me reference for a moment abortion, because as the whole world now knows, Ireland is struggling with this issue again. My friends, first, we have to be grave and serious about the panic and even terror that a woman might feel if she is facing a crisis pregnancy. We must never underestimate that experience. Consider a time in your own life where you were filled with dread and felt trapped and very afraid. It reminds me of Jesus in the garden, the way a woman facing a crisis pregnancy might feel. And while maybe we have been equipped to deal with things like crisis pregnancy, not everyone feels they are equipped. So, if we have not stared down a crisis pregnancy, let us always begin by examining the extent of what we don't know about a woman's experience in those circumstances. Now, let's move on to God's view. A child is conceived. The details around the conception will never alter that fact. Something huge has happened. If a child is conceived, God Himself is making a statement. What is He saying? He is saying, humanity shall continue. Now let's move back to the human experience, but let's do so in the truth that we are all spiritual beings. And by that I mean that our earthly bodies are temporary, and our spiritual nature is eternal. Now, what is the mother doing from heaven's eyes? Well, we know that when the Holy Spirit acted upon Mary and Jesus was conceived within her, God was sending hope to all of mankind. Well, Mary, in a sense, was the guardian and custodian of that hope. And when any child is conceived, regardless of the details around the conception, each mother has also become a guardian and a custodian of hope for God and with God. Because just as God sent hope with Jesus, He sends hope with each new baby. And what about the Father? The Father is given the opportunity to communicate integrity to the next generation. These are serious and wonderful obligations. The mother is the custodian of hope. The father is called to transmit integrity. Now, perhaps the mother doesn't feel like a guardian of hope for humanity. And perhaps the father is not present, or he's still searching for his own integrity. What then? Do we reject the created being of God, our brother and sister, or sister? Well, on what authority could we do that? We compensate, my friends, we help. Mankind has been welcoming unexpected babies for a long time. Many of us were possibly unexpected. Maybe most of us were unexpected. But our families made room. And God has big shoulders. If we work with Him, I promise you, we can not only receive every baby, we can take care of every baby He sends in the year 2012. This is what we believe as Christians and as Catholics, that God is the author of life and that we do not have the right to destroy life. Our bishops in Ireland reiterated this recently when they made the statement that said, by virtue of their common humanity, a mother and her unborn baby are both sacred with an equal right to life. So now we've considered the issue as spiritual beings because we are Catholics. Let's consider the issue more generally as members of the human race. What is a person? Scientists will say we are all a collection of cells. What is a baby in the womb? A collection of cells. What is the difference between you and the baby in the womb? You're bigger, more developed. Now, would we kill someone because they're 7 feet tall? We can. We have the technology. Clearly not, though, because you don't kill someone because they are bigger, and neither should we allow it because people are smaller. My friends, is this simplistic? I don't think so. This is just how illogical abortion is. As an extension of that, in one state in America, if you kill a woman who is pregnant, and you know that she's pregnant, you're charged with 2 counts of murder because you knowingly took 2 lives. That seems rational to me. The killer, the mother, but if a mother chooses to end the life of the child through abortion, it is legal in America. In some places up till the child's birthday. That doesn't seem rational. Some say that we must have legislation to legalize abortion in certain circumstances in Ireland because a woman tragically died. And if we have this abortion legislation, it will make women safe. What is the truth? Well, in England, where abortion is legal, 1 woman dies in these same circumstances every month. So abortion clearly isn't the solution to that problem. And to say that it will help with that problem is irrational. Some say people should have the right to choose. But my friends, people should be encouraged to finish that sentence. What they are really saying is that people have a right to choose to end the life of another. We, as humans, seem to be speaking out of both sides of our mouths. Abortion is not just a Catholic issue, it's a human rights issue. If we have a lot of, I think now, it's confusing because we have a lot of double speak. The American Indians called this speaking with forked tongue. No wonder so many people are anxious during this time. Things aren't adding up. They're not making sense, and people know it. And all of this is accompanied by a lot of emotion, anger, and heat, because a ton of people are wounded out there from abortion. Now, how does a lay apostle deal with all of this? Well, recently there was a woman at a party, and a political conversation began. Danger. So she stayed very quiet about her politics because she knew it mightn't go well. And at one point, the woman in front of her said, well, one thing I'm absolutely sure of, a woman has a right to choose. Well, the lay apostle couldn't contain herself. She said, a woman has a right to choose her dinner. And then, can you imagine what happened? It just broke loose, war. And 3 people began to yell at her. And she left. She said she couldn't get out fast enough. It was so upsetting. And when she left, she was angry because she felt she should have a right to her opinion. But then she prayed very hard and she said, Lord, I'm confused. I didn't want to fight to start. I love those people. And she said, in retrospect, I wish I had been more gentle. She said, because I thought, how do I know? Maybe that woman suffered from an abortion. Maybe she's in grief. Maybe, who knows? She said, and so she picked up the phone and she called her. She got very humble and she said, I'm so sorry that happened. We can disagree. We shouldn't ever let anything come between us. Come over for dinner. Now that was beautiful, wasn't it? That was humble. And I think that's the way. I think we're going to have to think about that. I think also that we're all afraid that we have to be experts in these issues or we will be overcome in conversation. But we don't. It's not true. Some things aren't that complicated. I recently heard a famous scientist say this. He said, we're spiritual beings here for a short time to create around us some part of heaven. In the gospel on Tuesday, the Lord said, I bless you, Father, Lord of heaven and earth, for hiding these things from the learned and the clever and revealing them to mere children. You see, this scientist went so far into the cell structure of life, he went so far into quantum physics that he was compelled to sit back, breathe deeply, and recognize God. He, the learned and the clever, became like a child. We have to become like children and not be afraid to make simple statements. I disagree. We disagree. It's an equalizer. You're stating we both have opinions, we disagree. Now in baseball, the coaches always told us, keep your eye on the ball. We heard it constantly, keep your eye on the ball. Because if you went up to bat and you took your eye off the ball, you might hit the ball, but you might not. Who knew? And if you kept your eye on the ball, your chance of hitting it increased. And at least if you didn't hit the ball, you knew you tried your best. My friends, you and I have to keep our eyes on Jesus Christ, the returning King. We have to study him, know him, and learn him. Because, you see, this apostolate is not a social club. It's a very serious movement of holiness in the church, willed, we believe, by God himself. And there's a lot of division everywhere we look right now. Isn't it true? If people, it doesn't matter what country they're in, there's serious divisions. The American leaders gave solid leadership recently, just like our Irish bishops. have. But in America, some Catholics rejected it. And I wonder, how long did they ponder before they rejected God's leadership in the church? How seriously do people take their Catholicism? Clearly, if you've been around here for a while, you know the question for us is, how seriously do we take our Catholicism? A holy priest recently said, having laws that permit abortion is one thing, but perhaps we need to move toward a faith community where no Catholic would choose an abortion, because each Catholic would fully understand the Church's teaching on sexuality and on life itself. In this month's message, Jesus said, I send graces down upon your world. Indeed, at this time, I begin to flood the world with heavenly graces that will heal souls and convert hearts. My friends, that lay apostle at the party, who was willing to suffer a little for peace, had it right. She knew that if she did not make peace, she would never be able to bring the woman grace, love. She did not surrender her position, of course. She just chose to continue on in a loving relationship with someone who disagreed with her. And in this apostolate, we know that the Lord sends very exquisite healing for any woman who has suffered through an abortion. Jesus, the King, is very serious about healing each person who's been wounded and traumatized or just in pain or regret over this. Now, this Advent, as lay apostles, let us focus on our King. Let's concentrate on the King. He is the one wearing the crown. This is important for us to note, because if we think we are the learned and the clever, it's like we think we are wearing the crown. Jesus is King. So what does he need us to do? We have to pray. To say, we have to pray like that lay apostle. To not say, that needs prayer. Only in this way will we be able to offer his grace and blessings to others in the world who need him so badly. Okay, just a couple of things. First of all, did anyone notice the beautiful cope that Father Dara was wearing with the returning King? It was beautiful, wasn't it? Mary, come up here. One of our lay apostles in New Mexico handmade it.
Thank you. I'm Mary Carter, and I'm from Las Cruces, New Mexico.
Tell them how you made it.
Well, it's actually been a love offering that's taken me 2.5 years to make. It's been my constant companion everywhere I went. But what a blessing, what a blessing. So, thank you. Every stitch is stitched with prayer for the apostolate and for all of you.
Thanks, Mary.
Thank you.
You know how we get people dropping by. Pam, come up and say hello also. Tell them who you are and where you're from.
Hi, I'm Pam Robertson, and I'm from Chicago, the windy city, but this is the cold city, I think. Damp. But my skin looks great here, doesn't it? And I have been working on the prison ministry, so I'm not going to bore you with all the details, but I promised everyone I would keep everybody updated. And I do want to brag a little, because in Illinois, we did have a lay apostle step up, David O'Connor, and he's going to be heading the group in Illinois. And I want to remind you, every state in the United States and every country, including Ireland, we are going to need a lay apostle to make sure that everybody is trying to get our booklets, the booklet on for prisoners, into all the prisoners. So hopefully those of you in Ireland will help us with that. So good luck. Keep our prisoners in mind, especially at this holiday season. And thank you, Ireland, for your wonderful hospitality.
The fruits